Have you heard of the new craze talking about everywhere chemicals? Everywhere chemicals are chemicals that are everywhere that can affect your health. These are phthalates and phthalate-like chemicals. Now, here's the issue. According to, and this was actually put out by CNN at the end of April 2025, so this is like mainstream stuff now. This is not weird, it's not controversial, it's become mainstream. 10% of cardiovascular death in the United States has now been related to these everywhere chemicals. Like worldwide, depending on what study you look at, where you're at, maybe up to as much as 30% of world, it was actually in Africa, of cardiovascular deaths in Africa, could be related to these everywhere chemicals. Now, some of you may have heard of like the forever chemicals, these are your PFASs that once they get in the environment, they stay around forever. This is a different issue. These are chemicals that will put in everything, phthalates. So where do you find these things? You find them in skincare products. So if you've ever had like a really nice, smooth, silky, like a skincare product, it's in there. Plastics, PVC in your pipes, any kind of synthetic wear can have some kind of phthalate in it. And it's used a lot in cosmeticals, and even in different plastic wraps or things like that food is put in, and even cans, tin cans, or other canned kind of foods. So it's a big deal. Now, is this really new? Did CNN just discover this? And the answer is no. I learned in college 20 some years ago that these things could actually affect genital, male and female genital formation in frogs and other amphibious animals. And lo and behold, we're seeing issues with kids now being exposed to these everywhere chemicals, these phthalates, affecting testicle descent and little babies, female genitalia development. So this is a big deal. It's related to cardiovascular disease. Some of these are also referred to as neuroendocrine disruptors, or chemicals that actually affect your hormones. Again, why am I talking about this right now? Because CNN posted about it, but an article recently. And so the concept is this: the idea of chemicals around us in our food, in our environment, in our clothing. Hey, we got lots of laundry here. This is Italian laundry. But the issue is a lot of American clothing that's really popular right now. A lot of the, sports related stuff people wear actually are plastic petroleum products. And you can get from that stuff as well. The issue is that it's now becoming, quote unquote, talked about to new, quote unquote, but it's actually an old concept. It takes decades before mainstream media, before mainstream medicine catches up with this concept. Again, one of my patients actually he was actually one of my professors in undergraduate, was a fish specialist. Another one was a bird, an ornithologist. And talking to them, they've known forever about these chemicals affecting bird development, egg development, how thick eggshells are, frogs, etc. So the question becomes, why is it taking us such a long time to remove these things from our food system? Great question. Anyway, so what can you do to help minimize your exposure to these everywhere chemicals? Well, the first thing is just to minimize your exposure to petroleum and petroleum-based products. Now, you may have heard about red dye, number 3, being banned by our current National Health NHS organization. You may have heard of other food dyes being banned from our food system. These are actually petroleum distillate products. That's a good start. Another start could be for you to minimize your exposure to these things in your diet, whether minimizing use of plastics, not using as much plastic containers, using stainless steel, glass. If you do use plastic, don't microwave anything in plastic. Water filter, radiation, reverse osmosis. It's interesting how much plastic actually gets in the air that we inhale. Some microplastics are actually inhaled. And I've talked about air quality. We're in Italy. This is the niche background. But it's amazing how much industrial byproducts are put in the air that you breathe and actually hit your body. That's one of the things that's looked at the PM2.5 I talked about before, but the gist is that the stuff gets in the air as well. So you have filter in your home. If you have carbon particulate acid gets in the air, and you can actually get in your body some of the microplastics and other chemicals that are coming off of the carpet. It's filtered air, clean water, filtered water. The food you eat, I don't use a microwave for this very reason. If you microwave stuff in a plastic container with plastic on it, you will get a leaching of that stuff into your food. And a big place this is a big deal for women is actually self-care products. The average female puts over 200 chemicals on her body every day before she leaves her home. Many of these products have phthalates in them. So just cleaning up, particularly for women, just cleaning up your self-care products, getting better makeup, better mascara, better moisturizers, looking for phthalates. And it's kind of tricky because this is starting to catch on now. So some of the manufacturers are changing the name and changing it so you don't know what you're getting. So just being aware of this. We have a lot of great resources on our website. I did a whole detox blog series on this. And one of the references I use is the Skin Deep resource from the Environmental Working Group. Great resource if you want to find some clean products. But the point is, it's now becoming more mainstream The environment can affect us. These chemicals in our environment can affect us. These everywhere chemicals can affect us, and you need to be more aware of it. I start eliminating these things. My question is how much of what we're dealing right now with childhood illnesses, obesity, increased cardiovascular disease, different cancers, hormone issues we're seeing, how much of this is related to environmental chemicals? And the answer is a lot of it. And hopefully in the next couple of years, research will become more forward. But we know in the animal world, in the fish world, and the bird world for decades that these things can actually impact genital and sex development in these animals. So eliminating your exposure, being aware. If you want more resources, we have a whole detox blog series on our website. I do have a guide in our house, a healthy home guide. In our website that actually helps you walk through how to keep your home clean. It talks about, different rooms in your house, different cleaners, and how to actually evaluate your house. And it's based on the Harvard School of Public Health, based on their resource. So great resource as well. So I hope this is helpful as we walk through the streets of Venice and have more ideas, and we'll drop them here. And if there's something you'd like me to talk about on a little pasta di giorno as I'm walking around, please let us know. And I'd love to talk about that. Our goal with RFM is educate, encourage, and empower. And this is one of the ways I'm trying to educate people more about little topics as they come to me, because, I'm always learning something no matter where I travel. And we've already talked about air quality here in Italy. So talk to you soon.